Hare Krishna. Welcome back. Sindhu here, Radha Madhav channel. Today's topic that we are going to be discussing is 4 types of people who come to Krishna. Right? 4 kinds of people. It's a little complicated verse, but as we see, you can understand the beauty of this verse. Right? Let's start with the pranam mantra. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschadhyate Shatarini. Hare Krishna. Let's recite the verse and see the word by word meaning also. Right? Chaturvidha bhajante mam janaha shukrito arjuna arto jignashur artati jnanicha bharatashabha. I repeat. Chaturvidha bhajante mam janaha Krutino Arjuna Arto Jignashur Artati Jnana Cha Bharatarshabha. So word by word meaning. Chatuvidaha 4 kinds. Bhajante render services. Mam unto me. Janaha persons. Shukritinaha those who are pious. Arjuna O Arjuna. Artha the distressed people. Jignasu the inquisitive people. Artha Arthi one who desire material gains. Jnani one who knows things as they are. Bharata Shava amongst the great descendants of Bharata. Right? So the translation given by Prabhupada here is, O best among the Bharatas, 4 kinds of pious men begin to render devotional service to me. The distressed, the desirer of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the absolute. Right? So what is the meaning here, or what is Prabhupada telling here is, unlike the miscreants, these are adherents of the regulative principles of the scriptures, and they are called Shukrinitaha, or those who obey the rules and regulations of the scriptures, the moral, the social laws, are devoted to the Supreme Lord. Right? So out of these there are 4 classes of men, he says. Those persons who are sometimes distressed, those who are in need of the money, those who are sometimes inquisitive, those who are sometimes searching after knowledge of the absolute truth. That's how they have classified as 4 divisions. These persons come to the Supreme Lord for devotional service under different conditions. Right? These are not pure devotees because they have some some aspiration or some benefits to fulfill in exchange of the devotional service. Right? Those are the people Krishna here referring to, not the pure devotees. Right? We'll see who are the actual pure devotees in the last thing. Right? So when these 4 kinds of persons come to the Supreme Lord for the devotional service, and they are completely purified by the association of the pure devotee. Right? So gradually they also become pure devotees. Artha, what is Artha? First he talks about Artha people, right, in the verse if you see. Artha means distressed, right? At the same time pious. A man distressed does not mean he is impious, right? He may be a pious man also. He may be in distress because this material world is meant for distress. Just like when there is winter season, everyone suffers, right? So the pious, he thinks of the God in a miserable condition, but the impious, he cannot think. Just like if somebody is distressed and he goes to the temple and prays, my Lord, I am distressed, please help me. Right? Example, the Lord saved the surrendered king of the elephant, Gajendra. That story also we saw. Right? Who was under terrible distress from the grips of the crocodile. Right? Similarly. So there is Artha people, the first category of people what Krishna referring. Second is Jignashu. Jignashu means inquisitive kind of people. Just like an intelligent boy is very much inquisitive to understand, right? He always asks too many questions. He asks his parents, oh mommy, what is this? what is that, why is this, and all that, right? So mother explains everything. So similarly, there are persons who are very, very, very inquisitive, right? So they keep asking their parents so many questions, right? They are studying, just like the scientist, they are making research. Similarly, when one makes research, what is God, right? Now scientifically, with great intellect, one tries to understand actually what is God, right? I have so many examples in the scriptures of Shanaka Rishi and all that for this category of people, right? Next is what is mentioned is Artharthi. What is Artharthi? Artharthi refers to the one who is in need of money. Such persons are forced to approach the Supreme Lord for the mitigation of their distress or to get some money by the benediction of the Lord. They have been described as Sukriti and pious because in their distress or need for money they have approached the Supreme Lord. Right? Artharthi, a poor man. He goes to the temple, he goes to the church or wherein, and he prays to the God, my dear Lord, I am very poor man, give me some money so that I may be happy. Right? For example, in this case, maybe Dhruva Maharaj. Right? Dhruva Maharaj, what he did, he went to worship Krishna under the instruction of his mother in the forest with a desire to achieve the kingdom of his father, or better kingdom than his father, right? So it's also given in detail about in the Nectar of Devotion chapter, right? The third category what Krishna is talking is Jnani. Jnani means when the dry philosophers are frustrated in every field of knowledge, they sometimes want to learn of God, they come to the Supreme Lord to render devotional service and then transcend knowledge of the impersonal Brahman and the localized Paramatma and come to the personal conception of Godhead by the grace of the Supreme Lord or his pure devotee, right? So Jnani means who has understood his spiritual constitutional position. He is called a Jnani because he is a man in knowledge, right? Maybe personal, impersonal conception, but he is trying to take shelter of the absolute truth, right? So both Shukadeva Goswami, you can say, and 4 Kumaras, they are all examples of this pious soul, right? Right? So this is what we were talking about, different kinds of people who are, pertaining to the devotional service, right? But what Krishna says, Krishna is so kind that he says even if you have some kamanam or some desire or some material desire, still you can take shelter on me, right? Do not take shelter of anything else, take shelter only of me, right? He says that, especially in which chapter he says that? 18 chapter 66. He says sarva dharman parityagya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchah, right? Means abandon all varieties of religion, surrender only to me, I shall deliver you from all these sinful reactions. Do not fear, right? I will give you protection, he says. So we have to take faith in the words of Krishna and put a complete faith and devotion to the lotus feet of Krishna. That will make us happy and make progress in the Krishna consciousness in order to achieve the highest goal of life. What is that? Back to her Godhead, back to Golok Vrindavan, back to Krishna, right? So what the Lord says, one must be free from all the contamination of material desires. Like we saw, the distressed, the inquisitive, the penniless seeker, right? Or all seeker after the supreme knowledge can all become pure devotees. And of the 4 orders, the devotee who is in full knowledge and at the same time engaged in the devotional service, the Lord says is the best, right? By searching after knowledge, one realizes that his self is different from his material body, and when further advanced, he comes to the knowledge of impersonal Brahman and Paramatma. When one is fully purified, he realizes that his constitutional position is to be the eternal servant of the Lord, right? So by association with pure devotees, the inquisitive, the distressed, the seeker after material thing and the man in knowledge, all become themselves pure, right? But in the preparatory stage, the man who is in full knowledge of the Supreme Lord and at the same time who is executing the devotional service is very, 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 very dear to the Lord. He is situated in pure knowledge of the transcendence of the Supreme Personality of God in devotional service, that material contamination cannot even touch him, right? That's what he's saying. On the whole, when the distressed, the inquisitive, the seekers of knowledge, and those who are in need of money are all free from material desires, and when they fully understand that material remuneration has nothing to do with spiritual improvement, they become pure devotees, right? As long as such a purified stage is not attained, devotees in transcendental service to the Lord are tainted with fruitive activities, the search for mundane knowledge. So one has to transcend all these before one can come to the stage of pure devotional service, right? What we saw, who's best among these four types of people and why? What we saw here? Who has full knowledge of the Supreme Lord, at the same time who is executing the devotional service, very, very, very dear, right? That's what we saw. At the same time, what the message here we have to understand, my dear friends, is that performing daily rituals and doing devotional service alone is not enough, right? One must preach, one must share such a knowledge, right? And in such preaching, not be concerned for success or failure. We shouldn't see the result, right? One should be enthusiastic in serving the Lord, right? Lord, in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wanted the cult of devotional service to the Lord to preach all over the world in every nook and corner. And therefore, the pure devotee's duty is to discharge this order as far as possible, right? Every devotee should be very, very, very enthusiastic, not only in performing his daily rituals of devotional service, but in trying to preach the cult by following the footsteps of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Right? Success or failure has no meaning for a pure devotee because he is a soldier in that field. Preaching the cult of devotional service is something like declaring war against material life, he says. A devotee should see the right discharge of devotional service. But how? Under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, right? And he should not stick only to the formalities. He should do only under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master. One should see how much service is being executed, not simply as a matter of rituals, right? That's what Krishna is pointing out here again and again, right? So that's it for today, and we saw the four types of people, right? And what is it? It's basically the service without aspiration and without desire for material profit, right? That's what is the highest thing, right? That's called the pure service, devotional service, is it, right? One should render, even in Chaitanya Charitamrita this is quoted, one should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. This is called pure devotional service, right? I guess you enjoyed this as much as I did, right? I will come out with similar topics soon. Until then, Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.